afternoon. A quorum is present, and I'm calling the Tuesday, November 15th meeting of the Historic Preservation Board to order. Do we have any public comments? Then we'll proceed to the first item on the agenda, which is the approval of the minutes from October 18th.
Motion to approve?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Second item on the agenda is to hold a discussion, take action on the request to make changes to the rear facade of 327 West Main.
So, Madam Chairman, we were aware that Mr. Alexander would have to recuse himself on this, and that would leave us with less than a quorum. And so we notified the property owner, and so we've moved that case to the next agenda.
Given that, lacking a quorum, 2022-041H will be moved to the next meeting. Next item on the agenda, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on new vinyl signage and regular signage to be added to 307 West Main.
We have a new business at 307 West Main, and it's an upscale consignment shop. And she would like to put vinyl signage on the front and back doors, and she also has a 48 by, I think it's 32 sign that she's adding to the front of the building. And she is here.
Come on up. Good morning. Welcome to Main
Hello,
Street.
good morning.
Will you please state your name and address for the record?
I'm Kirsty Demery, and then the address for our business is 307 West Main.
Welcome to the street. We
Thank
welcome your
you.
business. Good luck to you. Anybody have any questions? No. I have none.
Okay.
I agree with you that signage on the back as well as signage on the front is appropriate. And it seems to me that the metal sign to be affixed is perfectly in proportion to
Okay.
the structure. So I have,
Is this the same logo you have at your Durant location?
No, ma'am.
It's
We
different.
changed the logo a little bit just to accommodate kind of more what we were leaning toward here. So since we are family consignment at our Durant location, it's more bright. The colors and the flowers it's laid out a little different. It still is a hanger. It still has the same name. It's just, it looks a little more elegant this way. So that's kind of what we're drawing in with the higher scale of inventory in this location.
excellent.
Yeah.
Any more discussion?
No, I motion to approve the
A
signage.
second. Whoop, sorry.
At 307 West Main. I didn't hear you.
A second. I'm just getting ahead of myself. I'm stepping on you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on a new paint color for 214 North Rusk, case 2022-072H.
I don't think so. Can you click it? It might not be on. So 214 North Rusk has a new owner, and they have begun to paint it, and they are requesting to be able to paint the building. And I don't see that owner here. So it's unpainted brick. except for that little section right there was previously painted. And that's the look that it is now. They proposed the iron ore trim, and then on the next, well, it's, okay. It's, they're proposing white for the building.
They're sort of proposing after the fact, aren't they?
Yes, ma'am.
So I just drove by there, the entire building has been painted.
Yeah, it looks like it's unfinished because Mr. Lay stopped them. On the side, it's got like, you know, the eaves. It has a little corner that's painted, and it looks like they wanted to finish, but couldn't.
This is a
Primer.
primer, so, thank you. There's a slide that we had, a photograph that we had where there's this bright light blue. Yes. Was that there previously?
That was there previously.
Oh, that was the addition that's addressed, right?
Yeah, and it must be on the back of the building, or, anyway, I had not seen that, but.
Well, assuming that that's an addition, but we're still left with the same issue
Right.
of permission being requested for something that's already happened. And
Do you have any thoughts?
They already started, by the time we caught them, I hate to say the damage was done, but there wasn't any turning back.
Right.
I mean, it was what it was, so.
Yeah.
And in fact, they have stopped now because,
Yes.
and I don't know if that was just because of the weekend or something. I asked an attorney about this, and we've also discussed it in this forum and others. And that is, where does the due diligence lie when someone proceeds with doing something
Right.
that is not permitted by ordinance, by code, and by the historic district requirements? Does that onus, does that responsibility for due diligence, is that held by the purchaser? Is that held by the realtor who sells the property? Or is it held by the title company who runs a title that says to the potential buyer, there is one impediment which you need to know about? And as I said in my inquiries, I was told that perhaps the buck stopped with the title company. Mr. Alexander, this is your business. What do you think? I'm just curious. I mean, I really am. I'm curious.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and try to interpret the law of what's right and what's wrong. We've had this discussion, I think, since I've been on this board,
Exactly.
and it's never gotten resolved. Not that that's wrong, it's just a real tricky issue. I agree with the same thing. I mean, we actually lost our board chairman because of this issue.
And the person who purchased the property is, I believe, a professional realtor. Did I read that correctly?
I think he may be a doctor too.
You should stick to doctorate.
But, hang on just a second and I'll think of it. Our, Chris Walentine, our legal assistant, has been addressing this with trying to get the title companies and what have you. But it's not resolved yet, but she's working that.
And clearly it's something about which we need resolution because it's happening again and again. And I have heard a justification, which is people need to paint on the weekends because they can't get people to work during the week. That doesn't work for me. And
Right.
obviously, when people are out there with 3 people and spray guns, it's hard to as we've all agreed, and as you do, Mr. Lay, as you do, as Ms. Wallenstein does, we're really in a very difficult position here. Because every time it happens, it provides license for it to happen again, because there aren't consequences. And I don't believe that this is a contributing building, correct?
I did not check that,
I-
but
I can't
I
believe-
don't think
I
that
can't
it
believe
is.
that it would be. That does not, however, absolve one if the building is within the confines from doing something, whatever, without permission.
So can the paint be removed?
I will say, I mean, just that.
Thank you.
In this particular scenario, that the owner was notified, I think they were observed doing the work on maybe a Sunday. And Donna let me know on a Monday. And I did reach out to it was the real estate agent that Monday and informed them of this process. And they still snubbed their nose at us essentially, and the next weekend continued to do more work. I can tell you in this scenario, the owner was issued a summons or a citation for violating HP. So that's in the court now, but again, it goes back to what's on there. I don't know that that can be removed at this point without the integrity of the brick and mortar being compromised, so.
Exactly. So I guess, Mr. Lay, then the citation is for a painting situation is new. I mean, have we done that before?
It's the first citation I've issued for an HP violation, but I think the root of this is we're still not ahead of it. Like, they didn't just get approval and paint the wrong color and get it, like, I don't want to say the damage was done, but it was already past the point of no return. And I think the question y'all are trying to answer is how do we get ahead of it and not just be putting some kind of punitive something on them after the fact, because that's not really what we want to do. We want them to come through here first. And I don't know what the right answer for that is, to
Well,
get that message out.
Is that the $500 citation? Is that the?
That's the max. The
Okay.
judge, if he is found guilty or if he pleads guilty, the judge sets that, so.
Well, thank you for beginning to issue citations.
Yes.
And also, we have discussed in this body and others what it takes to begin to apply those penalties. I've heard it discussed that they're applied from day one that it begins and until it is rectified.
Right, but you know, the next person that buys a building downtown, they're not gonna have any idea that that happened to those folks. And, you know, I would rather not issue a citation. I would rather it go in the correct order and be
Right.
done, because I don't know if you would have approved that painting or not. But now, about the only thing you can do is say, paint it a different color, because I don't
Yeah.
think you can, I don't think the paint could be removed and it ever be restored to its natural.
Exactly.
But that's primer, is that what Sarah said, that white is primer?
I'm not sure that it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure that it's not, but my first instinct that it's white
Paint.
paint.
Yep.
It may be a paint primer one type of situation, but it's covered pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
To think it's just a primer to, before the paint, but
So, Mr.
either
Lake-
way, you can't remove the primer either.
No.
Mr. Lake, when you said they basically snubbed the contact, they just pretty much said, too bad,
So, again, I was made aware that that had started over the weekend, and when I made contact on a Sunday, or made contact on a Monday, I'd gone over and taken some photos, and then I was contacted again the next week that they were back over there painting, and went back over there, and I took more photos, and it was like, okay, since I told you to stop last time, you've done additional work. So yeah, even after, and then we call the realtor again and say, hey, they were back over here painting, and he's like, you know, of course, I've told the owner, da-da-da-da. But ultimately, yes, after they were told to stop, they did what they wanted.
So I think sometimes what happens is a contractor is over there, and that's who he's got to go visit with. And the contractor might or might not understand English. And also, the owner made the comment, I'll just pay the fine. So I think that's also an issue.
It is an issue. And once again, here we are with no solution really that's completely tenable to all the parties concerned, including people who already own buildings, or people who might, or people who've already transgressed. And suddenly we have a situation, okay, now we're gonna put the screws down. And thank you for that, thank you. But I don't know how we can resolve it. I don't know what it takes.
No, I think you're right. Other than something in the title process or filing something in the property records, and I don't know if it's even legal or not, but identifying every address in the historic district and filing something in there. That way, when a prospective buyer pulls a title, that they see, oh, this is in the historic district. I think that's your best way, but is that legal? I have no idea.
And that's what Ms. Walentine is looking into.
In the meantime, it seems to me that since the legal process is in place, my feeling is we let the legal process continue. And my feeling is that we deny the request to paint the building.
I agree.
Do I have a motion?
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. There you go.
So you're saying just to deny it, not table it, or?
I would, Robert made a point, we're at that stage of the building where we don't like what they've done, but, I mean, I think that it's painted, it's gonna be painted, it would be nice if he would finish it. It's practically finished, but I would say the question is, do you like that color or not? Or do you approve that color or not? But that's just
I understand.
my thoughts.
But I guess it goes back to Madam Chair's comments of, when does it stop? I mean, so we approve the
I'm
color,
with you.
so maybe we deny it until we get clarification as to what our next step should be.
I mean, it's it's not the only case that has come to us where the same thing has
Correct.
happened. And we have had in the past, we're gonna deny you permission to do what you already did. And that's kind of a strange place for everybody to be in. I guess
Not for the board.
you're right, you're absolutely right. And I mean, I defer to y'all, to the wisdom of my fellow board members as to whether we repeat a pattern of denying something that already happened or table it until we have greater resolution from Ms. Walentine, from whomever, whatever we can gather, including the issuing of citations, and then what's the follow-up to that? And again, that is procedurally an issue for us. If a citation is issued, does that mean axiomatically the process stops until that's resolved?
Does he have to stop, or how does that affect the process?
I don't think it prevents you from wanting to approve what's there. So it wouldn't stop you from doing that. The violation was for doing work before it got approved. You know, yeah, if you approved it today, you can go back at it and finish, yes. That doesn't make the citation void. But if you issue him a COA today and he goes and finishes, yeah, again, the citation was for failure to get a COA.
And I'm sorry I missed this before, but is it, like, if you're gonna fine him for every day he's out of compliance, does a new citation have to be issued every day? Or is that,
If we were going to, yes,
okay.
yes.
Well, I can tell you, I visited with him, and it's not going to be an easy case to resolve. So I feel, and it's not to make it easy on me, I don't want you to think that, but I feel, playing this out, that if I contact him and say he was denied, he's going to want to know what he's got to do to get to the next step. And so his options would be to take it to council. Well, I don't think they're going to be very pleased with him either, and I don't think they would approve it, but I feel like we need to have a way to resolve the issue. And at this point, I see fining as our only option to, for corrective action.
So if we didn't approve this color and we tabled it for him to bring back another color, what do you think?
Well, it's,
I mean, would we have approved this color if he had gone through the proper steps?
it's a building that's not painted.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking about too is, does it mean if it's not non-contributing, you can do whatever you want? And I don't think that's so.
No, it's not.
And a non-contributing building with unpainted brick is exactly like one that's a treasure,
Right.
it seems to me. So I don't feel comfortable approving a paint color. I don't care what it is. at
Right,
this point.
and you saw my staff report. I don't feel good about that either, so I recommended denial, but I was just talking
No,
through
no,
this.
And
Yeah.
really, there are two potentials. We table it until we have some kind of resolution, legal or whatever. Given that, unless they have this body's approval, I'd cite them every day.
Well, so a citation can't be issued to this person again because they've ceased working, and they're waiting for our solution. Now, if they show back up there tomorrow and started working again, then yes, they can get another one. But we can't, because we don't take, even if we issue them a denial for this, and they don't touch the building again, they're waiting for us to come to them and tell them what they have to do.
Right.
That, finding someone every day, it looks good on paper, but it doesn't work in a situation like this, you know, where in a lot of code issues, it's a life, health, safety, it's a daily thing, that they're choosing to continue to leave something in a certain state. Right now, these people are waiting on
Further
to say,
direction.
this is what you have to do.
Well, and they will not receive a CO until it's resolved, correct? So that in and of itself is a bit punitive.
I would compare it to 327. You didn't deny that. You tabled it. So they're still in the same state. They are not able to go to council with it, to appeal it, unless you deny it. So that's just additional information for your process.
consensus here that we cannot approve this because, so it's either a matter of denying it or tabling it. And for them to come to you and say, well, what do they want us to do? We're only telling what, from a historical perspective, why we can't do this. So we can table it and they can go figure out through the city, whatever they need to do, legal, et cetera, to figure out what they need to do. That's not our responsibility.
Correct.
And I would feel very uncomfortable in a situation like this if somebody went ahead and painted something and the color was in the palette. So we're supposed to say, oh, well, you painted, but it is an approved color. No, that's not acceptable. So I guess then our options is we deny as the suggested motion or we table. And I am table pending some kind of resolution that the building owner needs to seek from someone, but it's not us.
Not the historic board.
Not us.
Yeah, maybe you could come back with asking him if he could remove the paint. And if not, what's another color that he would like to paint it? And I'm just suggesting that as an option. I don't have a good solution.
As far as the property owner, what happens next is essentially going to be the same thing, whether we deny or table, right? If we deny, he has another step, which is he could go to the council and ask for approval. I don't think that would be very well received.
Right. Still yet, I think he would do it.
He would go to council.
I think he would. And then we would be left with what message that sends.
Exactly. And that is, in fact, something that the council could easily say, excuse me, this should have been resolved before it ever came to us. And it would be a bit of a trivialing matter, I think, if it hadn't happened over and over. The council has already spoken very clearly to that and to the responsibilities that everybody has in that process, including this board. Given that, perhaps the appropriate motion is to table and encourage the building owner to seek other solutions, and when he has them,
Right.
to come back to us. And for now, he screeched to a halt. And I guess if he puts another ounce of paint on the building, we cite him again, correct?
I feel good about that. The assistant city manager and I guess other parties too, are, you remember several months ago, we asked you for your opinion on the historic preservation ordinance. So that is being addressed. The goal is to have it by year end. So, you know, if you have any additional thoughts that you want to add, knowing what we know now, you know, you can pass those along too.
I invite a motion.
I make a motion to table.
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This case is tabled, and excuse me, I wouldn't put it on the agenda until there seems to have been some resolution
Right.
that has happened absent this group of people.
Right.
Okay, good with that? Y'all good with that?
Yeah, I wanted to insert this emoji right here. I don't know what to do about this one.
I don't know how you put that in the minutes, but this is the emoji.
Maybe the suggestion would be to remove the paint.
Yeah. It's like sandblasted or
There has to be something, I guess, Donna, we could, and Mr. Lay, we could say we'd like for you to test a portion of it, blasting it, so we can come and look at what it does to the mortar. But that could be part of the resolution we come to. And the solution might be, you need to blast all that paint off of there. But when we've had that issue before, there was the integrity of the mortar and the brick. And so then you have to weigh which is more important, the integrity of the mortar and the brick or the integrity of the district. And that building is way newer, so perhaps the mortar could withstand being blasted. But that, once again, is not something that we have to resolve, but it could certainly be
Right.
part of the process. For me, it is extremely important that another person not be perceived to have ignored the ordinances, the conditions, the goals of the district. Yet another one. And I
Right.
hate for, that little building to be the victim, if you will. But if it's able to be blasted without damage, then that could be the most expedient result. But once again, there's certainly resolution out there, but it does not include a certificate of occupancy. We ready to move on? That's a little pretty thing. Thank you, Mr. Lay. When would this citation be presented
To the
to the
judge.
court? The citation that exists?
So I can't remember the date. I don't remember.
Does that come to
It's
us?
been within a couple of weeks, and generally, the date to appear falls within 3 weeks. So the process they have to show to the court and do a guilty, not guilty, no contest plea.
Right. And would that be Mr. Bandman's court?
Yes. If it goes that far, I mean, they could go to the window and pay it if they want to
For that one time?
for that one.
And then, but do we know the dollar amount for which the citation was issued? So the court would have to determine that, correct?
Yes, I know there's an up to amount. Is it, historically, does it ever get that high on the first offense? No, but but I'll make that decision, so.
Just so I'm clear, you had said that you went and presented them with the citation.
So he's out of town, so it was sent to him certified mail.
Okay. But they continued to do it the next week.
No, so the way the process, and it will work this way in the future, and it even kind of spells out in our ordinance that you give somebody essentially a stop work order. So that's essentially what happened. They were caught working on a weekend. I was notified, I notified the representative that you got to stop right what you're doing. Acknowledged it, told me he would let the owner know everything involved. And then I guess I got it was from you, you sent me a photo or another email that said, hey, they're over there working again. And so I went back, and indeed they were. And at that point, now you have, you were given the warning that you needed to get. You ignored it. And that's the way most all code issues work.
Right.
All of that is you have to give them some kind of notice of what they've done wrong. And if he would have just stopped at the very first time and done nothing further, then he would not have gotten a citation. He was in violation of being told you can't do that, you were told to stop, and now you're doing it again. So
That's what I'm understanding.
that was your warning, here's your citation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this item is tabled until the owner can come to this board with a solution that this board might find appropriate.
Right.
The next case, receive a report, hold a discussion, and take action on vinyl window signage for 202 South Burnett, 2022-073H.
So the owner is a farmer's insurance agent, and she would like to put their standard vinyl decal on the front. And she is on vacation today, so she couldn't be here. But that's what it would look like with her name there at the bottom instead of David Richardson.
I make a motion to approve 202 South Burnett signage.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Staff updates, Ms. Dow?
So we have one. A while ago, you received a preview of the new video that we'll put on our website for everybody to view. And I think it's 4 minutes long. And so Haley's, is that correct? She's put it together. And so we're ready to preview that now.
I'm Janet Gott, and I have the honor of being the mayor of our community. What makes our community special and unique is our historic district, which includes our Main Street. Ownership of a building on Main Street carries with it a sacred responsibility to preserve and protect that building. And one of the things that we've done to make sure that that happens is we've created a historic preservation award. How often does the commission meet? It meets every 2 weeks for your convenience. With that historic designation, we are able to access historic tax credits. For example, the rail yard in the 500 block had access to historic tax credits when that renovation and restoration was done. That in our ordinance, our historic preservation ordinance, there is a $500 a day fine for making changes on one of our historic buildings without approval from historic preservation. Signage is one that gets very tricky. We want to make sure that we have consistency of signage downtown.
To access the application, visit the city's website at cityofdenison.com. Once on the website, click Main Street, then click Historic Preservation, then click Application, Certificate of Appropriateness. You can access from both your mobile device and computer. Be sure to check off all relevant list items located in the application.
Hi, my name is Scott Marr, and I'm a business owner here in the city of Denison, and we are encouraging the historical preservation process.
Hi, I'm Wendy Acosta. I am a building owner and business owner in this beautiful historic downtown Denison, and I've gone through it twice, and I have survived. Being a part of a historic downtown area, there's so much benefit that we get having our owning a building or a business in a historic area, but with that benefit comes a lot of responsibility. Choosing the colors that are appropriate to the time period of your building, so the steps are laid out easily for us.
Sometimes choosing a code could be difficult, and the historical preservation process can assist you in that.
Something else that makes it really easy for a building owner in making the decisions is that there are guidelines to help you. And one of them is the Secretary Standards as well as the Denison Design Guidelines.
As a business owner, sometimes you wonder if you're in the historical preservation area. We do have that available online at cityofdenison.com under Main Street and Historical Preservation Board, and there's a map that shows you exactly if you fall in that area. We have been downtown Denison for over 40 years. We just built a new building. So it's simple, it's easy. We encourage you to purchase downtown.
As we move through these exciting times in our community, we're asking you, take your responsibility very, very seriously. Know that when you have a plan, is Historic Preservation must approve that plan, and you must stay with that plan unless you get approval for any changes that might be made during the process. And these buildings are old, and there may be changes that have to be made, but just know that that change must be approved.
The audio is much better.
There's still some tweaks that need to be made, but hopefully by the next time it'll be the final product. But any feedback that y'all have, I'd love to hear, to continue to adjust, and I'm learning videography pretty well, I say. I mean, but it was horrible in the beginning, y'all should see the
Yeah,
first
you
draft.
couldn't understand it.
So.
Nice job.
It's a great job. And there are a couple of places, though, where the background music tends to override the person who's speaking, and that's what, a tweak that can be made, right?
Okay.
The text is beautiful, I
Yeah.
think. It's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Done a
Donna,
good job.
what's the process for making sure that people look at it?
Yeah, I don't know how we can force them to do it. We will send it out to electronically to each property owner and business owner, and so we'll get that coverage immediately, and then we'll do our best to get it to each property and business owner in the future. So that's easier said than done, of
Indeed.
course.
Indeed. But thank you, Mr. Lay. Anything else?
What about a link in the utility bill? Do people pay attention to that?
I don't know. We try to get a listing of people that have cut off their water or added their water. So it's sometimes not immediate, though, that list we get. And so that might be something that we could look at for new customers.
Title transactions are public information, correct? Anything else? Thank you, thank you. Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
I
Aye. Thank you.